Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my webinar this evening, all about busting those big business barriers that we have. We're just waiting for some people to join us, so you've got time if you want to just grab a quick glass of water or maybe a pen or a notepad if you haven't done that already, and we'll just give them a couple of minutes and see if they've come along. Okay? I hope you've all had a really good day today. If you do hear some rain, it's the rain that's falling on my roof at the moment. So I hope the weather's a bit better with you, and that you're not put off too much, right? Although it can be quite soothing, can't it? A little bit of rain. So we'll just wait for a little bit longer, and then we'll make a start. Okay. Okay, well, a few more people have joined us, so we'll make a start now. My name's Andrea Morrison, as you know, because it says so on the screen there. And welcome this evening. It's really great that you've taken the time out this evening to join me tonight, and I hope what I have to say you find really useful, and that you will be able to put it into practice straight away. For those who don't know me, there's lots of information about me on my website, andreamorrison.co.uk, so I'm not going to bore you tonight about my life story now. The essence really of what I do is to challenge you to do those things that you say that you can't do. I find that many business owners restrict the growth and, in fact, the success of their businesses because there are lots of things that they know they need to do to grow their business, but they just think that they can't do it. So, for example, I've worked with business owners who say, for example, they don't network. They just don't do it because they can't do it, they've tried it, it wasn't for them, they don't like doing the whole elevator pitch and things like that. And what we do, we work together so that we challenge those barriers. And then not only do they find that they can do it, they actually do it really well, which means that they then do more of it, which is really positive for their business because they start doing those things that start to really extend their business. So at the end of this webinar, please find me on andreamorrison.co.uk. You can follow me on Facebook, which is Andrea Morrison Coaching, and also on Twitter, which is at YesYouCanNow. And make sure that you sign up for my newsletters as well so that we can keep in touch. So let's see if this is going to work. Let me go to the next slide. So what I'm going to talk to you about, oh, that was a little bit about me, look. Right, okay, so we're going to talk about comfort zones to start with. So you're in the middle there. Obviously, art isn't my strongest point, so we'll just go with the stick then for tonight. And in the middle of your comfort zone is you doing what you absolutely love doing. This is when you are kind of in flow, you're really comfortable, you know what you're doing and what you're good at. They're all the bits of the business that you love doing. So it might be your product, it could be your therapy, it could be that you're a coach and it's the actual coaching that you love doing. But we all know as business owners that there is so much more to running a business than just the bit that we love doing. We have social media, we have selling, we have accounts, we have presentations, webinars, networking, phone calls, marketing, blogs, and this list is not exhaustive. There are lots of bits about business that's far more than just the bit that we love doing. And some of these may fall outside of your comfort zone completely. So this is what it may look like for you, but it may be that it's not quite as cut and dried for you, and that in actual fact it could look a bit more like this. So there's you in the middle, loving what you do, and doing what you love. And then you've got some bits kind of just outside of your comfort zone. It's kind of not your comfort zone, but you're okay, I'll do this because I have to, but I'm not particularly happy about it. So that might be networking, it could be social media, it could be blogs. And then outside of that circle is all the stuff you just draw a line at and that you just don't do. So you might say, absolutely no way am I going to do a presentation or a webinar. Just absolutely no way, I'm not going to do that. So the green lines, these represent your business barriers. And you may have more than two. You may have things that you tolerate a bit less than your I'll tolerate that zone. And it could go on. And it's these barriers that we start to create which can restrict the growth of our business, because these are things that we have to face and that we do have to do in business. So, and we do talk about things like that, don't we? Just thinking about it, we talk about, well, I'll draw the line at. You know, so even sometimes in our language, we create a barrier about things that we just won't do. So before we carry on this evening, what I would like to do is, because I kind of work in a bit more, I like a bit of audience participation. I like you to feel like you're involved in the webinar. And I'd like you to share, if you feel able to, where you are at the moment. If you were to fill in that picture, what would fall outside of your comfort zone? What else would you like to add? You know, what's the voice in your head sounding like now? Are you facing any difficulties? Or what would you like to do in your business that you think you just can't do? How do you generally feel about your business now? Now there is a message box on your screen, and just type your answer in there. Unfortunately, I can't hear you, so if you do talk to your screen, I won't be able to hear that. You will have to use the type, you know, and type it into the little box. So we'll just take a minute there. Have a think about, if you were to fill in that picture with you in the middle of your comfort zone, what would be your barriers? What would be outside of your comfort zone there? So just take a minute to do that. Okay, so that's great. Oh, we've got some coming through now, so that's really, really good. Thank you. If you're feeling, oh, I don't really want to add mine, do, because generally speaking, I find that people are going to be feeling exactly the same way as you are. So, oh, we've got one here, cold calling. Even though really confident in my product, I'm really not comfortable about going out there and selling it. Yeah, I agree with that one too. That's great. That's great. Oh, another one here. Another one from Rachel. Identify where my target market is. Yeah, that is a difficult one, isn't it? Maybe that's something that we might cover on a different webinar. Okay. Linking all the social media sites. Being confident in my social media. Absolutely. I think quite a few people do struggle with social media and that feeling of what is it that I'm going to write? Is it the right thing? Having to cover all these different social medias. No sooner have you mastered Facebook and Twitter, somebody comes along and says, oh, you know, you've got to be on Instagram or Pinterest. And it's keeping up to date with all of those and servicing them all, making sure that you have enough material to actually post out there as well. Oh, here's another one. Yes. Phone calls and marketing. And a big sad face there. I think quite a few people struggle with phone calls and putting yourself out there. You know, you can't really see what the person looks like. You can't assess their body language, and you're not really too sure how they're responding to you. So phone calls can always be a bit tricky. And so that's great. Thank you for that. And thank you for sharing those with me tonight. That's really important. Right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so moving on about how we deal with outside of our comfort zone. So we do need to do things to grow kind of outside of our business. We often find ourselves saying, I'd love to be able to do. Okay, I'm sure you may well have done it yourself in a networking meeting, or when you're just sharing things with other colleagues and they say, oh, I've done, had a great networking event, or I've been doing some marketing recently. You say, oh, I'd love to be able to do that, because deep down you kind of know that that would benefit your business. We might lack confidence, we might be self-critical, we may feel like we could do more and be different, be a different kind of business person that could do this stuff. And that feeling in itself can make us feel uncomfortable, the fact that we're not doing it. Now, if we take a moment and think about that, that means that actually where we are in our comfort zone isn't really that comfortable. So I'd just like to just pause for a minute there and just think about how comfortable actually are you feeling now, even though we talk about, oh, we're in our comfort zone. There are times when actually we don't feel that comfortable. So what's stopping us? What is stopping you doing those things that are outside of that green circle? Going to that networking meeting and just talking to people. Maybe doing a presentation about your product or your therapy or the service that you provide. What is stopping you from breaking through that comfort zone barrier and doing it? Or should we say, who is stopping you? Now, I'm being a bit cheeky there, saying, let's think, because I know that you know the answer to this. But I'm going to introduce you to someone now, or something. And I'm going to introduce to you your head for business. Now, I know that doesn't look much of a head, that just looks like lots of thought clouds. And that's exactly what it is. This is your head, it's inside your head. And it's full of thoughts. You have thousands and thousands of thoughts. Every minute of every day we have thoughts. And if you've ever tried to do meditation, and the type of meditation when they say empty your head, it is the most impossible thing to do. Well, at least I find it quite impossible not to think about anything. Because it's almost like how we're wired. We're wired to think. And so those thought clouds, instead of being nice and empty, which my picture shows you, actually, you've got lots of things going on. And you might have lots and lots of thoughts about the things you can and cannot do. Reactions. You might be thinking now, oh, this is all very well, but I won't be able to do this. This isn't going to make the slightest bit of difference. I don't care what she says. I'm never going to do a presentation or a webinar. You might have lots and lots of different thoughts about your ability, about the product that you, maybe you produce it yourself. You may have feelings about that, thoughts about that. And they're all in your head, and they're in your business head. So I'm going to introduce to you the best kept business secret. Now, when I look back on my career, and as I said, I'm not going to bore you about it because it is quite long. If I'd known this 20, 25 years ago, I think it would have made such a difference, and I wish I had known it, because the difference that this makes, not just to you as a business owner, but actually to you in general, is quite amazing. And that is, just because you think something doesn't make it true. I just want to pause there and just think about that statement. So just because you think something doesn't make it true. And I wonder what your reaction is. And again, if you want to keep, type and keep in contact with me, that's absolutely fine. Because I wonder if your voice is now screaming, yes it is, it's true. Everything I think about me is true. I know for a fact I'm absolutely rubbish at whatever it is. Okay? So, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories just to kind of illustrate this for you. So I want you to imagine that you're watching a really scary, dark murder on the TV. You're at home on your own, the house is dark, apart from where you're sitting, and you're now regretting only having a very small lamp on. And in this programme, the murderer waits at night in your loft and comes down only when everyone is asleep in the middle of the night to perform his grisly act. And you're on your own. After this programme, which by the way is a two-parter, so it's not even solved at the end, you have to go to sleep. And you do get yourself to bed, even though you're a bit about it, because you're a bit spooked by this. And you go to sleep. And then you wake up in the middle of the night. You need to go to the loo. But actually, you don't want to, because all you can think about is somebody being in the loft. Even though you know that there's nobody there. Okay. But you make yourself wait until the morning. You don't get out of bed. Okay, so that's my first example. My second example, my second story is you're giving a presentation and somebody yawns. You think, oh no, they're so bored. They look like this, they think this is just rubbish. They've sat at the front of, right in front of you, and they're then looking around and they're fidgeting, they're not really taking any notice. And immediately you start thinking, oh, I'm so rubbish at this, I wish I hadn't agreed to do it. And you start to rush. You rush through your presentation and you don't hold a question and answer session at the end. So actually, they just don't feel well. Okay, they don't feel well because their youngest child kept them up at night before being sick. So it wasn't anything to do with you at all. And those thoughts that you had, so were they true? Were they really true? Or were they just simply thoughts? Were they simply just thoughts in your head? You had the TV programme. You were thinking that there could be somebody in your loft about to pounce. That wasn't true, was it? But more importantly, about the presentation, you were thinking that that person had judged your ability in a negative way. Okay, so we're just going to move on now. And I'm actually going to throw it open to you again. So hold on, let me just do this here. There we go. What do your thoughts say? And again, use the little comments box, and this is great. What you're typing out, it's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to try and make this fix it big, so just bear with me. And yeah, okay, so what's going on in your head at the moment? What do your thoughts say? I've got some examples there, and And just share with me if you want to, of course, because you're doing great. There's some great examples here. Do you say in your head, I'm rubbish at that, that won't work, no one will talk to me, I can't do that, don't do that, it'll all go wrong, it always goes wrong, they're better than me? What's one of the thoughts, what's one of your predominant thoughts at the moment about your business? What aspect of it, what is that main barrier that you have about your business? What thoughts do you have? Do you want to share? If you don't want to share, that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to okay. When people judge me, they might know more than me. I think that's probably the most common one that I come across, that people think that they're being judged. And that they're not as good as they are. And we're going to look at that specifically in a couple of slides because I think that's really, I think everybody at some point feels just like that. Being rejected, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you for sharing that. And it's hard to share sometimes, especially in a webinar situation, because you can't really see who else is there. Sometimes it's nice to get to know the group before you kind of open up about this stuff. But thank you for opening up. Okay. So I want you to think just for a moment, what would it feel like if your head looked like this and you had these thoughts? So it'd be like, it'll be fine. That's a fab idea. This is going brilliantly. You know you're going to be great. Just go for it. It's just a thought. Let it go. Ignore it. How would that feel to you? What would it mean to you? What do you think you could do if you think about your comfort zone and the things that are on the outside of your comfort zone? What would it feel like? What could you do? What could you do with those thoughts in your head? If you didn't have all the negative stuff, what is it that you would do? Would you do that networking? Would you take on more work? Would you make that phone call? Send that email to that person to get that particular contract or that piece of work? If you didn't have that self-doubt thought in your head, they were just wiped away. Just imagine what you could do. So, you clicked on the wrong place there. There we go. How do we do it? Well, how do we get a head full of negativity full of positive stuff? There are 3 things to remember. So I'm not going to, it isn't really complicated. The first thing is to remember that they are just thoughts in your head. Just thoughts. And just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. So I like the analogy that your thoughts, why I use clouds a lot, is that your thoughts are like clouds. They're like thought clouds. So imagine your head's like a blue sky, and you have these little white fluffy clouds. And they're just thoughts. And the breeze can just blow them past. If you want to, if one of them is a really nice positive thought cloud, you want to grab hold of it and bring it down to earth so you can really engage in it and use it to coach yourself through something. But if it's something that you just think, well, it's just negative, isn't it? It's not going to help me. You can just let it go. Just like a thought cloud. It's like a little cloud floating in the sky, and you can just let the breeze take it away. We have to remember with all of this stuff that it is our head, and we're in control. Sometimes we might become a little bit passive to our thought processes, and we start engaging in things that we don't want to engage in, that take us down in this negative spiral. But actually the bottom line is that we are in control, and we can say, do you know what, I'm just going to let that negative thought go. I engage with the positive stuff, but the other stuff, just going to let it go. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tips, and these are some practical tips, and yeah, keep the responses going as well, because I love to hear what you say. I realise that some of you are sharing some stuff that's quite personal, so don't be offended if I don't share it, because I'm kind of respecting that perhaps you're sharing it with me, but you don't perhaps want to share it with lots of people you don't know. Okay, so here are some tips. This always makes me laugh, and that is partly the point of this. This is Mildred, and when I started to realise that the stuff in my head wasn't true, or some of the stuff in my head wasn't true, I decided that I would give a persona to the negative stuff, because generally speaking, the negative stuff that I was thinking wasn't necessarily true. So I call her Mildred, and I decided I would think about, what she looked like, what she sounded like, because it made it easier for me to tell her to shut up. I wasn't going to listen to it. So for me, my negative voice was like a really negative kind of Miss Marple, because Miss Marple is obviously quite lovely, but that kind of look, the old lady with grey hair and a bun and little glasses on the end of her nose, that she would look down her nose and look at me and say, oh, you're really not much good at this, are you? And really kind of talk down to me in a very negative way. And once I'd done that, I found it much easier to say, oh, shut up, you silly old bat. Because I knew that at that stage that they were just thoughts in my head. And that gave me a really good way of controlling it. So actually what I'd like you to do is just take a minute and think about the voice in your head. And what does it look like? What does it what kind of name would you give it? What would they sound like? And yeah, so if you want to share that would be really good. Okay. Okay, we've got a really good one here. We've got Blackadder in the room. That's a really good one. Oh, Nanny McPhee. Yes, I like that one too. Yeah, it's that kind of like old lady type look, isn't it? I think definitely. And yes, yeah. Oh, and we've got a little devil. Totally. Yeah, I mean, you might be thinking, oh, this is really silly. What? This is never going to work. Why would I not be taking this seriously? Well, Mrs. Trunchbull. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And Nora. Yes, that kind of like name, isn't it? The reason why I do it in this way Oh, we've got another one here. Fantastic. Perfect Petunia. Always remembers her handbag and makeup and never looks like she's rushing through life on the way to the school run. Totally this idea of perfection that we get in our head. The reason why I like to make it slightly light-hearted is that we often take the negative voices in our head very, very seriously, as though it's absolute gospel what they're talking about. And we've already looked at thought, and we know that quite often they're not. And so we take we make it a bit light-hearted, we make it a bit comical. It stops it having that weight that we have to listen to them. And that's why it's important. So make it as comical and silly as you like. You know, for a while I even had a picture of her that I found, you know, and because I just made me laugh just looking at it. And it stopped me from taking her completely seriously. So have a play with that, and that's something you can take away with you now and do something with. Okay. Now the other thing that we need to do is we need to be brave. We need to rise to the challenge and really be brave and say we don't want to engage with these negative thoughts. So it goes back to being passive about the negative stuff that's in our head, and we'll start to challenge it. So we have in our head, they think I'm rubbish. Okay, so it goes that people will judge me. They know more than me. They think I'm rubbish because I don't know anything at all. Well, the main thing that you can challenge that with is, so you can read their minds now, can you? You're a mind reader. You know for sure that that's what they think. That's what they're judging you on. You don't know what you're doing, that you're not as knowledgeable, you're not a proper business owner, you just at the bottom of the business heap. And you know that for sure, do you? Now it might sound that I'm sounding a bit harsh, but this is the kind of voice that you need to use when you're not engaging with those negative thoughts. I can't read their minds. I have no idea what they're thinking. So Mildred, just sling your hook, because I don't know. And move on. Another one is, it's all going to go wrong. And I get this a lot with clients who need to do presentations or webinars, anywhere where they're really putting themselves out there. And it might be something that they've not done either for a while, or it might be the first time they've done it. And it's all going to go wrong. All of it is all going to go wrong. Okay. And the first thing I challenge them with is, so you can look into the future now. Fantastic. You can put that on your website. There's a separate service. You know, not only do you make these fantastic candles, but you can also look into the future. Brilliant. And I know I'm being sarcastic, and I know I'm being a bit mean, but that's what you're doing. You're saying to yourself, I can look in the future, and I know it's going to go wrong. Of course you don't. Of course you don't. If you're prepared, you've got everything together, you know your stuff, actually, the chances are it's going to go pretty well. It never goes right for me. Oh, I've tried it, and it never goes right for me. What, really? But never? Ever? You can never ever find a time when it went right for you? Everything in your whole life has gone wrong? It always goes wrong. Always? So you get the idea. We often use very kind of absolute language, like never, always. So, and actually, they're very heavy words to use because very rarely does something happen without exception. And these are the things that you can challenge your Mrs. Trunchbull or Nora or Blackadder or whoever it is that you've got, you know, sitting on your shoulder. You can use all of this to challenge this and get yourself back to that position of comfort where you're okay and you're fine. Okay? once we start to do this, we can start to create a new you voice. So your you voice is the nice voice. It's not the Mildred voice, because you wouldn't talk to your friends or loved ones or colleagues in the way that you talk to yourself. You wouldn't point out all those horrible negative things to those people in the way that you do to yourself. Or would you talk to your friends or loved ones or colleagues like the bottom picture, which I accept is a little bit cheesy, but the idea being, would you talk to them in a supportive way, in a caring way, in a nurturing way, in a coaching way? And the chances are that you talk to everybody in that way, in that nurturing, coaching, caring way. And the only person you don't talk to like that is yourself. And it's not really fair. Are you really being fair on yourself? So practice talking to yourself how you would talk to a friend or a loved one or a colleague. And don't accept anything less. If Nora or Blackadder or Mrs. Trunchbull or Petunia raises her ugly head or his ugly head, just don't accept it. No, I'm not going to do that today. I'm actually going to coach myself today in a positive way, because that's being fair to me. And those other thoughts, I can challenge them. And I know just because I think it doesn't make it true. And what we can start to do, once we give ourselves this space, this opportunity, and once we start talking to ourselves in a positive and good way, we can start to boost you. Okay? Now, one thing that you might be thinking of is, oh gosh, well, yeah, I like all this challenge business, but I just can't remember the last time I was good at a seminar or a webinar or a networking event. And when Mavis gets going and Mrs. Trunchbull or Nora or Patrick Petunia or Blackadder or whoever it is that you've called them, when they get going, my mind just goes blank. And I just can't think of anything. And this is what we start to call our filters. Because what we start to do when we start engaging with our negative thoughts is that it's almost as though we put on negative glasses and we look back over time in our history and we can only see those facts that support that negative belief. So, for example, if you're saying to yourself, I really struggle with networking, I just really don't like it, I'm awful, I'm dreadful at it. And I remember that time 5 years ago when this happened, and nobody spoke to me, I didn't take my business card, I was just I stood in the corner on my own, I was tongue-tied, didn't know what to say, it was a waste of time, I didn't make any contacts, and I just came home really deflated. And that's the only one you can remember, because you've got those negative filters on. It doesn't matter that since that time you've actually been to quite a few networking events. They could have been less formal networking events, and you've made loads of contacts and you've got quite a big network. But you don't give yourself credit for that because you've got your negative glasses on and you're filtering out all of that good stuff. So one thing that you can do, if you become aware that this is the kind of thing that you are doing or might be likely to do, is start to create a portfolio of belief. Now, a lot of my clients, what they like to do is get a really nice notebook that's, really rather special. and they put in there all the things that they have done that they're really rather proud of. And as they start to extend their comfort zone to things that they thought perhaps they weren't particularly good at or didn't want to do, but actually weren't too bad at it, and they're actually quite pleased with how it went, they wrote those down as well. And so it means that when you do have that negative thought, and you do need to challenge it, and you can't think of anything to challenge it with, you've got it there in black and white in your portfolio of belief. Now it may be that you don't want to have a nice notebook, and that's absolutely fine. You could just have a file on your computer. You could use a testimonial screen on your website if it fitted and you were happy to do that. It doesn't matter where you record it. You just record it so that you know that actually if you do start engaging with that negative stuff that you don't want to, you've got something there in black and white that you can use to challenge it with. And you might say, well, how do you know all this stuff works? It all seems a bit airy-fairy to me. I don't know whether it works, and actually, Mrs. Trunchbull could be having an absolute field day. So I know this works because about 4 or 5 years ago, I'd been aware of all of this stuff, and I'd actually started doing it, and I'd started to create my own portfolio of belief, and I was beginning to challenge my negative thoughts and the stuff that was going in my head. And I had to give quite a big workshop to quite a reasonable sized company. It was a yearly kind of gathering. We had another quite a big named coach who was going on after me. It was also being recorded by the BBC. To be fair, I was slightly bricking myself about it. I found myself in the ladies' toilets, as you do, well I do anyway, putting on my war paint, trying to kind of make myself feel better about the whole thing. And then my Mildred started going on, as she did. Oh, this is all going to go horribly wrong, it's going to be a nightmare. Looking into the future, trying to coach me down. And after a little few thoughts of this, without thinking and without doing it in a positive or deliberate way, other thoughts started coming in. Well, it'll be fine, won't it? We've got everything sorted out. It'll be great. Everything's sorted, you've got your presentation, you know what you're going to say. It'll be fine. Just go for it. Really enjoy it. Why don't we just go out there and just have some fun? What have we got to lose? It'd be great. And I remember it because it kind of took me aback. Because I've been doing all of this stuff with one foot in the camp of this is never going to work. And at that time, that proved to me that actually it does work. And it can work for you as well. Okay. Now, I know this is a lot to take in because it's a whole new different way of thinking. And I do want you to leave today feeling positive, that you're fired up, you want to try some of this stuff and kind of stop getting in your own way. But I understand that you might need some support to do this. And often it's quite good to do it in a group. And I know we've had a little bit of interaction today, but actually knowing that other people feel like this too is actually quite powerful. So what I've done, and I know this because life can pull us out of shape, and sometimes all this stuff throws up more questions than it answers. So I'd like to introduce to you my Mind Your Own, the Big Challenge. Now this is my program. It's a 5-week course, and it's intended to help you embed this change so that you can get to the end of it and know that you can positively coach yourself out of a negative mindset. I will be giving you regular worksheets, there'll be video, there'll be 2 mastermind calls, so a bit similar to this with questions and answers. And it will all be done in very bite-sized chunks. I think the main thing for me about this is obviously I'm going to be giving you lots of content. I've given you a lot of content today, and there's loads of other stuff I want to share with you as well. Is that you'll be part of an exclusive Facebook community. Now, I'm going to limit this to 10 places. And the reason I'm going to limit it to 10 is because I want to really be able to work with you guys. I don't want to have a huge group of people that dip in and out. I want you to be able to feel that you can ask me questions and that I can respond to your individual issues that you have, and that you get a lot out of the 5 weeks. Now it starts on the 11th of May, so not long to wait. And the things that we will cover, obviously we'll be covering a lot more than we're just covering tonight. One of the things that I'm quite passionate about is passion. So it's really about using your passion, feeling it, finding it if you've lost it, restoring it, because if you can't feel passionate about what you do, you can't expect anybody else to. So it is about learning how to really love your business in a way that, as I say, makes it effortlessly attractive to your customers and your clients. We're going to be working on shutting up that inner critic. And we've done a little bit of work tonight, but we'll be working a lot more on it. We'll be recognising that you are the key influence in your business, and how far your business goes is pretty much down to you and your mindset. So we need to smash those confidence levels. And wouldn't you just love to be confident in what you do? Wouldn't you just love to be able to say, do you know what, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to do it. I don't care what people think. I'm just going to do it anyway. Because I know I'm good enough. How would that feel? What would that mean to you and your business? So we're going to cover why you are the most important person in your business. We're going to reach for the stars. We're going to set those goals in motion and know that you can achieve them. And that all goes down to that self-belief. The belief that you have in yourself and in your own ability. So this is all about changing the way that you might be working, changing the way you think, your mindset about your business, and moving you in that direction that you need to succeed. Because it is all about your mindset, isn't it? But also, as I said, knowing that you don't have to do this on your own. It's not about sitting on this webinar tonight and thinking, okay, I'm going to give it a go, and then by Wednesday or Thursday thinking, oh, I just can't do this. And then, of course, Nora's having a field day, because I told you it was no rubbish. I'm going on there. So, and that's what the beauty of working in a group will do. So what's your investment in this? Well, your investment is just over £5 a day. It's £5.20 something. You can work it out. Just about a coffee and a cake a day. As you're on this call, I'm going to give this to you for only £180. So the full price is going to be £245. And you can pay in 3 manageable instalments of £60. You can pay the first £60, and that secures your place at £180. I've got the link there, but don't worry about trying to write it down, because I'll send it out to you afterwards. Okay, and I'll be sending it to you so that you can get this special price. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh, well, I'm not sure. And that's fine, absolutely fine. If you want to ring me and have a chat, it's absolutely fine. You want to email me, that's fine as well. Because I want to make sure that this is right for you too. Okay. So I'm also giving away a freebie tonight, because I promised you a freebie just for coming along on a Sunday night when it's raining. So for those that are here, I'm going to offer you a 30-minute free one-to-one call. So we can talk about the stuff that we've done tonight and the difficulties that you're facing. And, you know, maybe put something in place to help you as well. And all you have to do is email me and we can arrange your slot for that. Okay, so just have a little recap. So you've got a few minutes left and just a little bit left to go. So our recap is that just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. We've looked at some strategies to help get you back in control. We've introduced Mildred and how to challenge her and how you can start creating your you voice so that you can help yourself, coach yourself. Okay. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about reflection and Mildred. Because sometimes, not always, sometimes Mildred may have a point, but it's important for us to use her positively, or Nora, or Blackadder, or Mrs. Trenchbull, or whoever. Okay? And we need to reflect on what she says. And I use the word reflection. I'm not using the word accept. Just think about what she says. So if there is some fact in there, so for example if she says, oh, it's all going to go wrong, and you think, okay, does she have a point? Then put steps in place to ensure that it doesn't. If it's a presentation that you're giving, just do a quick checklist. No, I can't think of anything that's going to go wrong now, so I'm fine. But it might be that Mildred just gives you that space to just double check. If she starts to say, you can't do that, it's impossible, you can't do it, then maybe break down the steps. Maybe break them down even further so that you can work out that you can do it. And just double check. So it can work sometimes as a checking system, and that's okay. That's okay. And the key to all of this, and to all of business, and in fact life in general, is that failure is a really good thing. We're kind of brought up, you know, in this kind of world where we say, you know, oh, you failed, as though it's like the end of the world. But actually, do you know what? Failure really rocks sometimes. It's really, really good, because that's how we learn. You know, it's an old example, but it's one of the best. If you watch a baby walk, they don't get up and just start walking. Or more importantly, they don't get up, fall down and give up. And so I'm not doing that walking thing. It's outside my comfort zone. I'm just going to carry on with my crawling. I know I can do that. They keep trying. And they learn, oh, maybe if I put that foot forward a bit more, I need to get my weight shifted a bit. And that's the key to all of this. So don't let your Mildred have a field day just because you got something wrong. It's okay. One of the most useful tools that you can start to adopt within your business is positive reflection. And when things go wrong, as they sometimes do, I love that poem, but anyway. First of all, ask yourself, what did you expect to happen? And then, what did happen? What went well? What didn't go as well? And secondly, how can I improve my experience when, and that's the important word, I do it again? And say, don't let Mildred have a field day, because we do our best learning from our mistakes. Okay, so you forgot to bring an extension lead to your presentation. You're not going to do that again, are you? And actually, it was all right. So you couldn't use your laptop, but you had some handouts. And those that attended really enjoyed it. It wasn't a deal breaker, because generally these things They're not a deal breaker. So don't let Mildred convince you that they are. So my final kind of takeaway, fundamental thing I want to share with you tonight is they are just thoughts in your head, just fluffy clouds. Some might be a bit greyer than others. And that the one thing that holds you back in business and generally in life is more often than not you. Just get in our own way. So that means the key to your success is you. We're in control. We're in the driving seat. So what's stopping you? So finally, any questions? If you do have a question, just type away as you've been doing. Just how are you feeling about all of this? Or have you all kind of nodded off into some kind of Sunday night? Kind of keep it on your laptop. But feel free to ask me any questions now. I'm more than happy to answer them. We've got a few more minutes left. Or you can come onto my Facebook page and ask me questions there as well. Okay, well that's fine. That's fine. And I'd really love to know if you've actually enjoyed this webinar. So, feel free to let me know your comments too. I've got a lovely smiling face in front of me here. So I'm glad that you've got that I've got one of those too. Do stay in touch with me. I'm happy to keep in touch with any of my followers at all. And as I say, any questions at all, then do just stay in touch. Okay, I'm going to stay on the line for a couple more minutes just in case any of you have any questions. It may take a while to come through. Okay, so a couple of you just saying goodbye now. Bye. Bye-bye, Selena. Oh, she's left now. Selena says, that she really appreciated tonight. That's great. That's okay. Okay, yep. You're right, I'm the only one stopping me. Absolutely, Julia, absolutely. Mildred ideas really helpful. I'm really, really pleased about that. Thank you, thank you. That's great. Okay, well, thank you very, very, very much. And I hope to talk to some of you soon. Okay, take care now. Bye-bye.